Well, hello and welcome to Myra's Crafting Playground Day 19, even though it's the 20th. 19. Mrs. Claus came down to the warehouse and gave us elves some hell and looked for that nasty demonstrator who was behind in her postings, and she got it too. So she's out of here for a day. So she's been kicked out. I'm replacing her. And so we have a fun card for you because we're up to mischief, right? What else do elves do? A little bit of mischief here, a little bit of mischief there. So are you one of those lucky people who get to go and spend Christmas in the sun, sea, and sand? No, not me. Anyway, I have made a cheers card because cheers to you. If you're lucky to go, or maybe you're there and this is what you want your friends to see when you send them a card at Christmas, this is the card for you. It's also great for New Year's, could be a birthday, could really be anything. It's just cheers to you. So let's go down to the table and make this card. First of all, I'd like to point out, and I don't know if you can really tell, but there's a little bit of a spotlight going on behind here. I did some blending on the white cardstock just to kind of oomph the glasses a little bit and make them sort of stick out. So I did a little bit of Daffodil Delight, followed by a bit of a Flirty Flamingo. And oh my goodness, the papers. What paper pack did I use? Oh, of course, I used the Celebratory Sips paper pack. The drinks themselves are cut out of this cardstock, and the background polka dot paper is just on the back of this wildly, it's just on the back of that. So those are the two pieces that I used. I used this, which you can see you can get purple drinks or yellow drinks or whatever drinks. I'm a Fruity Punch kind of girl, or a Harvey Wallbanger Tequila Sunrise kind of person, so I sort of stuck with the pinks and oranges because that just worked for me. So pick your poison. Could be simple lemonade. Really doesn't matter. And because the stamp set has slices that can be stamped. Now, I made orange slices, you'll see, but again, if you're doing lemonade, that could be yellow and it could be just a lemon. We've got strawberries and cherries and olives if you're a martini person, and all kinds of mint and different things. So there are lots of choice from this. Doesn't have to be, it can totally be non-alcoholic. It's just a cheers to you. So Merry Christmas. Anyhow, that's the set that we're using and the papers. And I did use one other, the glitter paper behind there, because you know it's got to have glitter. And that was the festive glimmer paper pack. Which has two shades of green, this cherry cobbler red, and I think there's a white in there. I think it's also an old paper pack, but I needed some glimmer, so there we go. All right, down to the table, because this elf has got to sneak out of here before Mrs. Claus comes back. So let's go back down to the table. Not much here yet. We're going to put our card there so you can see it, and we will get busy. So here are my different pieces. I've already cut out my my two drinks for this one. So let's start, you know me, let's eliminate pieces of paper. So there's my card base, and let's start by putting together all the pieces that we need. So I'm using tear tape today. We gave up on the Stampin' Seal because that was not funny when it ran out on me ran out on Mrs. Claus mid card. So I decided to go with the tear tape because this is what I usually use. I like it. You do your project once and it's done. Some glues, back in the day I used to buy one from one of the major stores, and I can tell you a couple years later all my cards were falling apart, and that did not bring me joy. So I like the tear tape because I have yet to have anything fall apart, and I've been doing this for over 25 years, so I think I got a little bit of an idea of what's going on. Okay, let's get this onto the card base, and then we're going to put this aside. So if you're happen to be crafting with me, although I think that would be hard because you didn't know what to have ready. So the card base is your standard 8.5 by 11 folded in half at 5.5. The glitter paper would then be your 5.25 by 4. The designer series paper would be, okay, 4 1/4, 3.75 by 5. And then the white piece of cardstock that we're going to use to create our spotlight and then decorate, that one would then be 3.5 by 4.75. It's just a 1/4 inch difference between each of the layers, and I find layering really brings your card to life. I'm not a single layer girl. Some people are, but that is not me. Okay, so here's our card base. We can put that aside. We have our little umbrella, and just to add some life to our umbrella, I'm going to actually stamp the outline in black right on top of the umbrella. Now you can stamp first and then cut. I pre-cut my piece so that I wouldn't have to run to the machine. So there's my umbrella, and now it has the folds on it. That's probably where you can see it. And it's great to stamp on designer series paper. Like if you have skirts for, you know, ladies' dresses or anything, you've got some design already happening, so you know, you just stamp on top of it and you're good as gold. All right, so now what we're going to do, oh my goodness. Okay, first we could do our cheers, because that's something else that has to be stamped. And I'm just putting this right at the bottom, as much in the center as I can. And I'll just give that a minute for the ink to transfer. Everybody hates it when you lift up and something didn't transfer. You know, either the C's not working or I don't know. Anyway, that looks pretty good to me. I'm happy with that. All right, so we've got our brolly. We got our cups. We've got our cherry, which, by the way, I stamped in real red, and then I stamped the stem in black, and I stamped the orange in pumpkin pie. But then when I colored in my cherry, with Flirty Flamingo, so it's a bit lighter, and you can see the lines of the actual stamp, and there's a highlight there, so you can actually see that. And as well, for my orange, okay, what's going on here? What's behind there? For my orange, I colored it in with Petal Pink, so a very soft color, and again, so that you would see the detail in the stamp itself on the orange. Okay, so I'll put my stamp aside because we don't need that. And we don't need these because we have already done the coloring. Just trying to clear up my desk a bit. So we'll put, oh, for goodness sakes. This is a busy little desk. I have this cute little, I don't remember where I got it from, it was some years ago, but there's this cute little pin here which is kind of stuck, and it's just for your glue. Anyway, it's causing me some distress right now because it keeps getting caught underneath my card and knocking it over. So let's put that aside and put this back in front for you. All right. Okay, so let's do the highlight on the card. We're going to push these pieces aside. We're going to need those. And there's our, this ribbon is in the catalog, in the mini catalog, that's coming to an end very soon, in a couple of weeks. And it's Fuzzy Wuzzy. It's cute. It's almost velvety. So I just use that along the bottom there. All right. I am going to start my highlight with Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to go very, very light. We've talked about holding the brushes. I tend to hold it like this. It gives me control of the head, and it also gives me control of the pressure. So I'm just really, really going to go light with my yellow. I don't really want a glow, but I do want the pink to sort of fade out. And I also want to create a bit of, like when the ribbon goes across, a bit of a floor? I don't know how you put that, but just sort of, what are the glasses sitting on, right? You don't want them sitting out in the air, you just want them sitting on something. They should be sitting, or they're going to spill, or drop, and crash, and that wouldn't be good. Okay, that's all I'm doing for my yellow. I'm not even sure you can see that. It is very, very soft, but I'm happy with that. Let's hold that up for you. I don't know if you can even see that. It's very, very, very soft. And I'm concerned I have some ink on my hands, so we'll give them a quick wipe. Although the wipe that I'm wiping them with has probably more ink than my hands. All right, so we're going to go back to Flirty Flamingo. Yes, just checking. Check twice, do once. Get some ink on my brush. It's going to be a bit heavier now because this is the second time. So I'm just going to add, I'm not going to go as wide as I did with the yellow because I really sort of just want it to pop up in between the glasses. And like I said, have a base, you know. Can't have your drinks up in the air, no matter how many you have, unless you're holding them. But, okay. So it's just very soft. It's not very heavy or deep or bright. It's very, very subtle, but just enough to create, like I said, somewhere for the glasses to sit, and it doesn't look awkward for the presentation. All right. Now I'm going to put on my little ribbon, which likes to curl. So I'm going to go a little bit longer. I'm going to go a bit longer, but then you're going to see me snip off. Because it's quite thick, it's not a thin ribbon, it just adds dimension to a layer that I don't really want to mention. Now you could pop it up. I chose not to because I did pop up my glasses. So it depends how many pop-up layers you want. You can do whatever you like. But I chose not to pop this layer. So let's just get some tape on there. I'm putting my tape on first because I'm going to use the tape here to secure my ribbon as opposed to putting a glue dot there. See, look at my desk. You know how I got rid of the sticky? You know, our embossing packages, when we're putting down our Versamark, and we like to first make sure that nothing else on the page is sticking. Well, I just took my my equivalent of the embossing buddy, and I just sort of rubbed it all over my table, and it gives me no more stick. I'm just saying. If you watch the trouble that poor Mrs. Claus has, we fixed it so that if she has to step in again, she will not have an issue with the stick. I like to look after her. She's good to us. Makes us cookies. Yum, 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 yum. All right. So I've taken off the tape. Now I'm just going to put my ribbon around the card just on top of my cheers. And it's so curly Q, it's giving me a little bit of grief, but that's what makes this whole thing fun, right? Okay, so there we got our ribbon. Oh, sticky, sticky back. Now I'm just going to cut off the excess. This side's not too bad at all. There's nothing really to cut. Okay, so I have cut off the excess. I'm pressing that down, and I will add this to my card base. So here we go. I'm standing up for this. I just like to get that bird's eye view. So we have our card with our base and our highlight. Now comes the good part. All right. So I did pop my glasses. I think I mentioned that. So let's see what else we can finish off here. Oh my goodness. I love, love, love finishing off these. I tell you to use them, and I use them because they all cost money, but I'm so glad when all the edging is gone. And this is from the mini dimensionals, and their frame is even bigger than the regular dimensionals. I mean, you get a lot of mini dimensionals, but you get a lot of frame too. So, okay. So we have our glasses, and I'm just going to stick them on. I am going to just a little on an angle because you know what? We're clanking glasses. We're going, cheers! Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Cheers to me. How come that's so high? There you go. I want this one overlapping a bit. Okay. So I'm going to attach my, there it is, looking for my glue. Attach my umbrella to the little piece of bamboo stick, because you know all the places are using everything recyclable these days, so no more plastic. It's a bamboo stick. Let that dry for just a minute while I take one of my oranges, and I'm going to give it a slice so it can hang over the edge. I'm going to pop one of my mini dimensionals up top, but then I'm going to add some glue on either side of where I cut it, just so it grabs. Okay, so let's put, yay, there's our orange. All right, now we'll pop a couple mini dimensionals on either side of this umbrella. Pop that into the drink, try and get around the dimensionals that are holding the glass in place, and the ice cube moved it over, that's what it is. And we're going to pop the extra little cherry here that you save to the end. I usually leave it in my glass, but we're going to just leave it out there. And then the best part of all, you know what it is. It's the glitter. So here we go. Still with my Traditions of Christmas sequins, or Traditions sequins. I don't think they call them Traditions of Christmas, even though the paper set and everything is all Traditions of Christmas. And this time we're going with red. And I've got one down here by the cheers, one in the middle, so you brings your eye back up to the drinks, and one down on the side here opposite the cherry, but I don't want it as low as the cherry. There you go. So there is our sips and cheers. Okay, so we've got two of these. So I don't know if you're down south enjoying the sea, sun, and sand, or on your way, but cheers to you. And I better get back to work before Mrs. Claus comes, or I'll be in big trouble. Hopefully, the next video gets Myra from Myra's Crafting Playground back on track. Have a great day.